Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for another swell series of shows starring Duane Weiss and myself, Bill Craig. And we're going to kick this show off with, by the way, it is January 4th, as we speak.
And it's cold.
And it's cold. Yeah. I had 13 degrees for the low temperature at my house last night.
Oh, you got that fancy
on my
thermometer,
digital, yeah. And it was 19 when I got up and was functional.
This time of year, I prefer not to know what it is outside.
I prefer not to go outside.
I can tell when I step out if there's, my driveway's always got their little spots where cars park, and if there's water on it and they're frozen, I know it was cold last night.
But it's so. Here we are in the new year, 2022. I would like to know what New Year's resolutions you've made.
I quit making resolutions because I never kept them. Sometimes I never got through the day. And particularly when I used to smoke. Oh my God, that was a perennial.
Yeah.
I am going to give up cigarettes, and I said, well, I'll do it Monday. Whatever it is. Then, well, I'll try next Monday. You know, it never worked for me that way, and everything else didn't work either. So I kind of New Year's resolutions became kind of a joke in our house.
Really?
So it's, I don't think many people have a New Year's resolution that they keep.
I think it's something that's passé now. I don't know if anybody that even talks about it.
You're right. You don't hear much about it, but I've gone to a couple of gyms over the years. And that first week after New Year's, you could see all the people that decide, this year I'm going to go to the gym, get exercise, and lose weight. Then second week you'd go there, there'd be a little less. Third week, less. By 4 weeks, it was right back to three-quarters empty again.
My wife has been going with me up to the gym up in Franklin, the YMCA, walking, and she said, wow, there's a lot of cars in the lot. I said, I think it's probably the old, I got to get back to the gym, folks. But that'll last about 2 more weeks.
Yeah, it'll die off.
Well,
how about yourself?
I did. I have made a list of New Year's resolutions.
You're
yes.
Either very ambitious,
I am,
or very optimistic, or both. I'm not sure.
I'm telling you. The first one, I'm going to ditch the quiet, laid-back demeanor, and I'm going to start to speak up and be assertive.
Now that's going to be a change.
There we are.
Oh, yeah.
No more shy little mouse running in a corner.
You're not going to go into a store and tell them what you think either, are you?
No, sir.
No, I know. Mm-mm.
I'm going to make year 2022 the year of the elderly. I want to do everything I can to help out our frailest, neediest segment of our population.
That's a good one. That's If everybody did that, we'd be all better off.
I'm open to all suggestions or ideas from any of you loyal viewers.
Did you get the card in the mail from Achenbosch?
No.
New rep?
No.
And he had, what do you want me to concentrate on? He didn't have anything on there about seniors, so I wrote the senior problem. Particularly about the every senior, well, most of us are being touched, some more than others, with the real estate taxes right now because they evaluated all our properties up.
Yeah.
And, that just raised our taxes big time.
You know, I've heard people, smart people, say Norfolk does not have a tax problem. They have a spending problem.
They have a spending problem. We hired a tax consultant, I guess a financial consultant one time years ago, and he looked at things and he said that same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have a money problem. You have a spending problem.
It was only a couple of years ago.
Use your money foolishly, is what he said.
It was only a couple of years ago. They wanted to put a $3 million solid copper roof on the day school.
Oh, I know. Just ludicrous things they would.
whoever was behind that idea, they really should have been imprisoned
Oh, yeah.
or shot. Well, not allowed to say that anymore.
No.
Darn it, there I
Prison's
go.
okay, though.
Oh,
Because it would go to one of those country club places anyway.
yeah. Getting back to the elderly too. The elderly are really and truly ignored in this town.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if you really said, well, I'm going to make a list of everything the town does for the elderly, it would be the world's shortest list.
Well, this town's orientation is definitely towards the young yuppies.
It's for the children,
Yeah,
the
sure.
schools. Let's put a copper roof on a school. Oh, we need more teachers. We need this. But it's for the children. Well, how about us old folks that
Yeah.
have paid taxes in this town all our lives,
Yeah,
or most of our lives, or whatever? Aren't we entitled to some help too, especially a year like this when inflation eats away at our
Yeah.
fixed incomes and
But it doesn't happen.
nope.
Well, we don't have a voice. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be that voice.
Okay, good.
And I'm open. Again, folks, I'm serious. Drop us a note right here at
Yep.
NCTV, Norfolk. Any ideas you have? Any help you think you'd like to see us give the elders? We'll speak up about it.
Well, you can email me. My email's easy to remember. It's just my name, Duane Weiss, at Comcast.net. Just say, call me, or call me back, leave a number, or just tell us what you want
Duane Weiss
at Comcast.net.
At Comcast.
Simple enough.
.net. Perfect. All right, great. I'm also this year, I've made a hard decision.
Okay.
I'm going to finally break it off with Taylor Swift.
Oh, no.
Yep. She's
What is
been
People Go Magazine going to do?
she's been writing me for years, wanting an affair, and I've rebuffed her many times. But this year, I'm going to make it 100% clear it cannot be. I hope she understands, and I hope she can handle a disappointment.
But think of what People Magazine's going to go crazy after this, because they're not going to have anything anymore. What's that other show, TMZ?
Yep.
What are they going to do?
No, they're dead in the water.
Sad.
And finally, a request from all you folks out there in Norfolk land. Please patronize our local package stores. With our friend Thelma Ravinsky under the
boy.
weather and not partying as wildly, their sales are off dramatically. So please, folks, drink up and head for the local packies. We got to keep them in business till Thelma gets back on her feet.
Just remember who said that. He.
Oh, dear. Well, there's some interesting things in the paper here that I've picked out. I got a ton of stuff, but the Globe continues with some unfortunate reporting. High court term limits are popular but seem unlikely. Popular with who?
I don't know. They
Not the general public.
probably no, or else they would have been pushed long before this to make it so.
Yeah. So I think term limits are a good idea.
Oh, I do too.
And you know what? I think that the politicians that are behind this, Elizabeth Warren for one, should pass term limits for senators and congressmen.
Absolutely. That's where it should start.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
2 terms for senators,
Yep.
that's 12 years, and 3 terms for reps, that's 6 years.
That's enough.
And out.
If you can't get it done,
That's right.
in 12 or 6 years, you're not functional. You're not effective.
That's right. Exactly. And instead, they just grow fatter and fatter and fatter. And so many of them finally leave only when they're shown a shotgun and headed out the door.
Bill, it's like a retirement home.
It is.
They don't really do anything.
Nope.
They get all kinds of benefits, all kinds of security, all kinds of publicity, all kinds of fame, and they just sit back and enjoy it. And if you don't get enough, then you do like Elizabeth Warren, make some outrageous statement, get yourself in the paper for a while, then go back to sleep.
And try to get in touch with these people.
Oh, no.
You call and you leave a message. Have him call me. He knows me. Have him call me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
One of the folks that works in the office, well, he's busy, Bill. What is it? What's your problem? What do you need? Oh, I need to talk to him. Bill, committee meetings and jeepers creepers. Tell me what you need, and I'll talk to him and have him call you. Yep. So I spend about 10 minutes explaining to him what the situation is, knowing full well I'll never get a call back. I mean, give me a break. So government is supposed to work for us. Doesn't.
No.
Works for themselves.
That's exactly what it's self.
And to blame. One of the few outfits that works well is the Supreme Court. Somehow or other, they have isolated themselves from the lobbyists and the big money people.
Well, they better, because that's their function.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're supposed to be above
the day that
and
they
beyond.
don't, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
The day it starts to become partisan or political, you might as well forget it. We're just going to be another banana republic.
This is what the Biden administration wants to do. They want to politicize the Supreme Court. Oh, well, let's get it up to 15 because, well, we're in power now and we should be able to run the Supreme Court. Oh, that's politicizing it, isn't it? No, they're above politics. We're going to pick impartial people.
We've seen that already.
Yeah, we've seen it already. Is right. And, of course, it requires a constitutional amendment. And that is a long, cumbersome affair because all 50 states have got to vote on it.
And we're too divided as a nation to get anything done like that anymore.
That's right.
Now. We can't do that.
No.
It's just not feasible right now.
So with them failing doing that, so now it's term limits. Well, that's not going to work because that's going to take away a lot of the independence of the jurists, and I think that's a bad idea. However, typical of what's going on in Washington these days. Well, I don't know what to start with here, Duane.
Pick something.
I got some police stuff here.
Go ahead. We'll mutilate it, no matter what it is.
I've got some stuff from overseas, some politics. Anything tickle your fancy?
Well, take it in order, whatever you got there.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we got a couple of outrages here that are interesting. Study in California. 75% of black children in California cannot read at state-defined levels.
Yeah.
Okay. How, in the name of all that's good and pure, can we progress as a nation if we're not educating all the children?
Well, you got to remember that certain parts of the country, the term education doesn't mean what it does in other parts of the country.
That's the strength and the weakness of the U.S.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. National standards would be overreach, in my estimation. by the federal government, and that's the last bloody thing we need. But different states do things differently, and some kids fall further behind depending on what state they live in.
Oh, positively.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We can blame an awful lot on the educational system, and boy, they deserve a lot of the blame.
I go round and round because I'm married to a former teacher.
Yes.
And I get a lot of my own problems because of my big mouth. But and I tell her, about teachers this and teachers that, and make smart-ass remarks when there's Teachers Week on Jeopardy. I says, oh boy, they're going to dumb down the questions this week. What? So, but I usually do that mostly to get a rise out of her. And I do. I believe, and I've talked to, I've mentioned this to her, and she doesn't really disagree, is that over the years, teacher training went away from their discipline. If they were going to teach biology in the years past, they had a lot of biology courses. Now they get some biology, but they get a lot of philosophical methods of teaching, the philosophy of this, the cultural recognition of the student, the cultural this and the philosophy of this. When they get out of school today, the new ones, they're kind of like, yeah, I know a little bit biology, but I sure know about cultural reach, and I sure know about cultural biases, and I sure know about all this. And you're not teaching that. You're teaching biology. Or in the case of lower kids, you're teaching them arithmetic or math or earth science or whatever.
Yeah. I have got, believe it or not, a couple of friends that are school teachers, or were school teachers, and I've had conversations with them, and they've told me all the things that are wrong with our educational system.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said, would you come on the show and talk to us? No.
Mm-mm.
I said, oh, please. No. It would be, I would lose all my friends in the teaching business, all the friends that I have developed all through the years, all my working friends. She said I couldn't do it. She said I couldn't do it if I came on and told the truth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And today you can be going along, your teaching career's going fine, and you make one little misstep, you're history.
That's right. You're out the door.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't intentional,
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
somebody else interprets it another way, gone.
Yeah. We have gone, the pendulum is over here.
Mm-hmm.
And, instead of stopping in the middle,
Right.
it's gone all the way off the scale
The
in
other
the
way.
other direction.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to, you know what we've lost? Common
sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm telling you. You mentioned something. Biases. I have something here. A teacher said, we all carry our biases with us. And it was in another state, and it was a overnight flap.
Mm-hmm.
That, what is she saying? What did she mean? We're all biased.
We are biased.
Of course we are. And so I just quickly wrote down, I hate red meat.
Yeah.
I hate rice. I hate the rich. I hate gun owners. I hate Trump. I hate Hillary Clinton. I hate police. I hate liberal judges. I hate the military. I hate smokers. I hate loud rap music. I really do.
Well, so do I.
I hate TV ads. I hate the bias on CNN. But bias is part of our DNA. It's what defines us.
It's how
we
live
have
our,
opinions.
It's how we live our life.
Yeah. If we were acting out on these biases, and doing things
Yeah.
bad to people because we had this bias against them. That's a totally different
Yeah.
ballgame.
To mix everything together and say you can't be biased is
Yeah.
ludicrous.
I'm telling you flat out, I don't think anyone could survive 5 minutes
There
without.
is nobody that's not
That's
biased about something.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the Boston Globe, but I read it every day because it's the only place you can find any news.
I hate asparagus, but I don't eat it either.
Oh, Brussels sprouts.
Oh, jeepers.
Oh, boy. Yikes. Well, anyway, I had an interesting conversation with one of my charming children. You know, Patrick.
Patrick.
We're talking about, somehow we got into how our language changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, well, we don't, and I also threw by him our contention, nobody chews gum anymore. And
Yeah.
it's because we're changing, Dad. He said, look at jeans, okay? Look at the pocket in your jeans. Used to be the watch pocket.
I still got some. I got a little bitty pocket there.
Yeah, and it's used to be called the watch
Yeah,
pocket
that's
because
right.
you'd put your pocket watch in
That's
it.
right. That's where that came from.
And it had sometimes it was on a chain, but sometimes it was just a watch pocket.
Sometimes
the watch
today it's kind of a pain in the butt because every once in a while you're trying to get your hand in your pocket and you got it in that little pocket.
Yeah, but then after the big watches, then it became my coin pocket, and that was my generation.
Yep.
And now, as Patrick points out, it's the condom pocket.
And what did Dad say? I don't want to hear about it.
Over my head.
Yeah.
Once again, it just passes me by. Ah, boy. Well, here's an interesting story. Oh, no, I want to do this one. So, I get this in the mail from our friends at Subway.
Oh my God.
I'm not a big fan of Subway.
I am not either.
But I love this. Get a foot long for $5.99.
Yeah.
Get 2 foot longs for $12.99.
That's a deal. Somebody said, you think, can't they do math?
Unbelievable. Every other company that advertises stuff says buy one for $5.99, get 2 for $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, not them.
No,
They raise it a buck.
Add a buck because
Yeah.
you bought 2.
Gee, that's marketing. Boy, I'll tell you, there must be a real whiz of a marketeer working for them.
Some of these marketing people, you would think that they're where they got them from. It's unbelievable. Now, Subway is, I believe, one of them that Consumer Reports took to task about their ads. When they showed their sandwiches, the filling was about that big. Then they showed the real one that Consumer Reports picked up next to the picture, and the filling was about that thick. So
Yep, you gotta.
I got a thing with advertising that I don't like the fine print that they use on the bottom. First of all, it's too fine, and it's not shown long enough so you know what it is.
I agree with you on both scores.
There's so many things there that are actually contrary to what you just saw
That's right.
in that little print. There's one just comes to mind, one of the cell phone companies. Change your service and we'll get you a Apple 13.
A new phone, an Apple 13.
And the bottom
on
it says,
us.
with applicable trade-in.
That's right.
Well, you got to trade in about an $800 or $900 phone.
And they're gonna, and even if it's damaged, they'll rebuild it
Oh yeah,
and
Well, of
resell
course
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you get the idea that I just got to change it. I'm going to get this Apple
Just
phone.
bring the old phone in and get a new one.
Ford-
Walk out the
Ford
door.
has got one with the pickup, the new electric pickup that lights up the house.
Oh yeah.
on the bottom it says, truck does not actually light up house for illustrative purposes only. And then it says, this truck is not a production truck. It's not yet in production or available to the consumer.
Do you know this morning that Ford stock is up? Oh boy, I don't want to misspeak, but 22 or 23 bucks.
Okay.
Now that's from the pits. It's
Yeah.
come up, and the reason what was driving it was Ford revealed that they have now got 200,000 orders for the all-electric F-150.
Yep.
Firm
not surprised.
orders.
Yeah.
Now that's people that have put money down,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to go into production.
It's the
And
shape of things to come.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
better be, because everybody's investing so much money in the production.
yeah.
I think the battery technology is probably starting to catch up where it took so long because the batteries held them back.
Do you know that when the batteries hit 500 miles,
Yeah.
I think that will
Yeah,
be
you mean
just
the range?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. One charge gives
Yeah.
you 500 miles. When that
Hits that.
I think the days are few and far between for the gas
Yeah.
engines.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because that is sort of a, they thought 300, but now everybody's at 300
yeah.
plus. But 500 is a
Yeah,
definite
I can
milestone.
drive from here to Buffalo on
Yeah.
500.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah.
And
So
and if they ever get to the point where they can rapidly recharge,
Yeah.
that will solve everything. You know,
they
maybe not.
have
They
now-
will never get to be like a gas station, but I mean, if you could get 10-minute, 15-minute recharge on it.
they've got a charging station that will charge you back to 80 or 85% within 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think you can live with that on the road, especially when you pull into a pit stop. You go over, you snap the old charger on it, and you go in and you hit the boys' room, and then get yourself a cup of coffee and wander back out, and most of the 45 minutes is expired.
Yeah, I did see one of the possible solutions. I don't know how feasible it is, but instead of recharging the batteries, change the battery packs. The thing where you could pull into a station, I got a low battery pack. He takes your battery pack out, he puts a new charged one in, and off you go.
You know,
That was in Buffer Mechanics, I think it was. the
yeah,
idea.
and that's a pretty good idea. It would be if changing the battery were simple,
Yeah,
like
well, of
a
course.
plug-in,
Like
plug-out.
a plug thing.
And for an accessible battery.
You can't do it now because you got to tear the car apart.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But if you put it in the trunk and it was just totally accessible, you could have an extra battery with you.
Or that too.
Pull that out, put that in, bingo bango, hit the button, and you're off and running
In
again.
this case, service stations would just be giant charging stations,
Yeah.
charging all these extra batteries that
Exactly.
they would just be swapping
Yeah.
out as you pulled in.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be the wave of the future. There's no doubt about it.
Another thing, a lot of things bug me or irritate me. They shouldn't. Like Monica will say, "Well, do you care about that?" I said, "I don't know why," but the idea that an electric car is totally green. Well, you've just moved the production of electricity from the combustion point on the gasoline engine over here to where you produce the electricity. You just moved the pollution source from one to the other. You didn't totally eliminate it.
What do you think you use to charge, to generate electricity? Natural
right.
gas.
Coal, some places.
Coal.
Fuel oil.
That's right. Or nuclear power.
Yep.
Now, nuclear power is the best pollution-free generating
It's the most efficient that we have.
power generation we have in this country, and we look down our nose at it.
Well, yeah, it's not PC. It's something.
It's not PC. The little old ladies in their
No.
tennis shoes
Yeah.
said, "Oh, that's Aki,"
Yep,
and
exactly.
people just they fall into place, you know. It's madness because if we could start building nuclear power plants now, within 20 years, we could be in great shape.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you talk about being our carbon footprint.
Yeah.
I mean, when you could eliminate and then at the same time be working on the clean combustion for natural gas, of which we have got buku amounts, and
Yeah.
oil. You know, now, I hesitate to repeat stories that have been told to be my madmen, but I have no way of judging on this story. No way of judging at all. But I was talking to a guy that seemed to know what he was talking about. And he said, you know, who's really was set to become the #1 manufacturer of vehicles in the U.S., in the world,
Yeah.
was Volkswagen.
Oh, I think that at one point they could have been.
And they got screwed because a lot of this, their emissions test, that was a phony, trumped up charge because they were working 24/7 on clean diesel fuel. And they were set to make some breakthroughs in it, especially with the way, you know, the engine runs on diesel fuel. And they would bring the emissions from here down to here. But they would stop dead in their tracks.
You never know.
You never know. But the green people, oh, no, that's fossil
Yeah.
fuel. No, you can't do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
they just want to eliminate fossil fuel, but they don't have an alternative. That's the problem with this whole thing.
Well,
Develop an alternative and then get rid of the fossil fuel.
Well-
Don't get rid of the fossil fuel before you got the alternative.
President Biden has the alternative. He calls Russia and says, please pump more oil. And OPEC, please pump more oil. We'll pay the price, whatever it is.
That's
But we don't want to drill down and get ours because we're trying to be green. Well,
that's
you know
true.
what? When you put that stuff up there, doesn't matter whether it comes from Russia or the U.S.
No, you don't know where it comes from.
No, they don't know up there when it filters around the world as the world turns on
But
its
just to
axis.
play the devil's advocate, actually he's right. In a finite resource, you want to use the other person's first.
That's right.
Because when they run out, you still got yours.
That's why I was always in favor of buying Middle East oil,
Use theirs up.
heating oil.
Yeah.
Remember, we used to buy it for $5 a barrel.
Yep.
Refined,
Hmm?
okay? And bring it here into the New England states. That's how we get hooked on heating oil.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the Middle East. And I always said that was the smartest thing we could
Yep.
do because we thought we were going to run out of oil.
That's right.
Little did we know that fracking would open up
Yeah.
buku more. There's no way in hell we can run out of oil now. They're finding it all over the world.
Yeah.
And the Russians are finding it up in the North
Yeah,
Pole.
way up in the
Yeah.
Siberia, that
Siberia,
God
as
places
they would
that I
say.
have no desire to ever see.
No, I can't think of any reason I'd want to go there. Interesting story in the Globe. Harris, heir or afterthought?
Yep.
Joe Manchin was coming to visit President Biden for a sit-down, nose-to-nose negotiations, and Biden, according to this, told Harris, stick around, say hi, smile, and then get out. So, now they're editorializing. What he needed from her was not strategy or advice. He needed her only to say a quick hello, which she did before leaving the room for another meeting. The moment described as an exchange of brief pleasantries by a senior White House official and confirmed by two other people who were briefed on it, was a vivid reminder of the complexity of the job held by Harris. While most presidents promise their vice presidents access and influence, at the end of the day, power and responsibility are not shared equally.
No, they haven't been for historically.
And Biden does not always feel a need for input from Harris
Nope.
as he negotiates some of his most important relationships.
Oh yeah, this. People think that right now because we got Harris as our vice president, that should be right next to Joe Biden and they should be working together. Vice presidents have rarely ever done that. You go back in one of the most important times of our history with Truman and Roosevelt. When Roosevelt died, Truman had no idea, he had no idea what the hell's going on because they never told him.
The Manhattan Project was a shock that knocked him on his
Well,
keystone.
he didn't know anything about it.
No.
So this is not new. Pence was never in with Pence. He was there, but he was always kept on the outside. And
You know, he delegated to Pence, though. He gave
some
Pence
things,
a game plan.
A game plan.
Yeah.
But
But
on the
the point I would like to make is this. Can you imagine if Trump were president and this story was written, they would be calling for a lynching party. If he had a female vice president and he treated her in that way, say hi to the guy and then leave, go away. Now, according to the folks that don't really think a lot of Harris, they say, well, in Biden's defense, she doesn't read her daily briefing reports. She doesn't participate with people. And for an ex-senator, she does nothing interfacing with the Senate.
No. They used to say that the most valuable piece, that was when men were the vice president, the most valuable piece of equipment they could own is a dark suit. Because your job is going to be go to funerals, state funerals. That's all you're going to do. You're a nothing. You're just a state funeral rep.
Yeah, you might as well be the ambassador to
exactly.
Ireland. Yeah, for all the stroke you got. I guess there's with the most critical decisions facing the White House, the vice president is caught between criticism that she is falling short and resentment among supporters who feel she is being undercut by the administration. And her allies increasingly are concerned that while Biden relied on her to help him win, he does not need her to govern.
Well, I think that's a very true statement.
Yep.
On all the aspects of it.
Yeah. And Harris declined requests for an interview.
Well, there's nowhere to go. She's smart to do that because she can't win on that. There's going to be questions that are going to be such that if she says yes, it's going to be one thing. If it's no, something else.
Yeah. I thought that was, well, it was from the New York Times,
Mm-hmm.
and generally speaking, they get their sources.
Yeah, they got good sources.
Yeah, and the sources come to them and
Mm-hmm.
say, we want this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on. Here's another interesting story. Former McDonald's CEO Steve Easterbrook,
Yep.
who was ousted in 2019 for having an inappropriate relationship
with an employee.
with a subordinate,
Yep.
has returned $105 million in cash and
I saw
stock
that, yeah.
to the company in one of the largest clawbacks in the history of corporate America. Duane, if we were able to claw back from every corporate executive his salary for the last couple of years that he worked, because he was having as we call it now, an inappropriate relationship with one of the folks that worked for him. That would solve the deficit problem in this country.
Probably could, because it's probably enough substantial.
I saw more things working at the Foxborough Company. That's the only large company I ever worked for.
Oh my God, Bill! If you go back to our age, our era, the things that went on in companies, that no matter what company it was, even the companies I worked for, the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Today these guys would be in jail.
We had a foreman that had a department with 30, 35, 40 people in him.
Mm-hmm.
He's bonking one of the employees, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It just went on and on and on. It was just not a.
And it wasn't just that department over there. It was that department over there, that department over there, that department over there. And everybody in the place.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, it was an incestuous place.
Mm-hmm.
It was all big companies.
That wasn't unique to Foxborough Company.
And you further up the ladder, in fact, one of the most embarrassing stories I heard was one of the vice presidents sent a telex back to the home office. He was over in England, and said, sent it to an individual, a young lady, his administrative assistant. In effect, it said, okay, I'm here. I have a suite for us at the Hotel Gum Gum, or whatever the hell it was, and arrange for a flight for you tomorrow to come over and assist me at these meetings for the next 5 days. And then there was something else. Hope to see you soon, love. Big boy.
Bill, go back in history. Go back in presidents. Go back in General Eisenhower.
Oh, yeah.
He had a administrative assistant that traveled with him all the time.
Guess what, Duane?
Roosevelt had a secretary that always had a room adjoining his room. I don't know, I remember her name, but I read the book that we had it for a while. It might have been your book, in fact.
Could have been.
Who else was there? There was a whole bunch of them there. Roosevelt, JFK, for crap's sakes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Here's the thing. He sends this telex back to the Foxborough Company.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From England to her. She was back in the office. Gee, did he ever stop and think that it had to go through the telex office?
And everybody's going to be reading it as it comes off and passing it back around?
The telephone operators and the telex operator were all in their own little kingdom. Look at this!
Oh, I know.
And someone made a copy of it and sent it to his wife.
Now that's a shocker.
And guess what happened? He came back and took 3 weeks vacation to be with the family.
Yep.
And sent his resignation in.
I worked for a company that developed an official company policy. Wives are not to come around to the sales meetings. And then we had our sales meetings in Florida, Puerto Rico, nice places in the wintertime. We'd always have them the second week of December. And then the next 2 weeks you got off because it was dead time anyway, and they didn't want to pay expense accounts for the salesmen on the road. So they just said, take it off, go relax, do whatever you want. But it was...
A different world.
A different world, to put it. The reason that policy came about was it was I don't know where, I don't remember which meeting it was, but we had two meetings. One we had regional in the spring, in June, and then December was the national. And this thing is about 99% men, 95% probably men, very few women involved in it. And one year, they had the wives all invited and everything else. The wife sat there and says, "Isn't that Joe Johnson?" "Well, that's not Mrs. Johnson he's with." Another one said, "Well, isn't that Bill White?" "That's not Mrs. White. I know her." And when they got home, phone calls got made. "Do you know what your husband was doing at the meeting?" And all hell broke loose. So the company just said, "We can't control morals. Whatever you guys do, we can control who comes to the meeting, and there will be no wives within 50 miles of our sales meetings from now on." So it got to the point where that was even going on, then. It was pretty blatant, some of them.
Can you imagine having an affair and have it cost you $105 million?
No,
Unbelievable.
I can't imagine any affair worth $105 million.
Unbelievable. He broke his contract. He was dishonest. Let me tell you something. He's going to join a club. About 75% of them are breaking their contract.
What really bugs me is these CEO salaries, and the guy's running the company belly up. He's losing 40, 50, $100 million a year running it, and they're still giving him X million dollars in salary, and that's still giving him X million dollars in bonus. Well, I'd do it for half of his salary and no bonus. I could lose that much easy.
If you've been following Elon Musk,
Sometimes.
It looks like when all is said and done, he will have paid somewhere, pick a number,
Okay.
between 11 billion and 15 billion in taxes this year
Yeah.
by selling his stock. Okay? At the same exact time, he has been buying back
Oh, yeah.
equal amounts of stock at $6 a share.
This guy's
Selling it for $1,100 a share and buying it back at $6 a share. But those were warrants that he got at the beginning of his company that he started when he was totally underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And he worked his butt off,
Yeah, that's right. Risk everything he
turned
had.
it around, and has made untold amount of families millionaires.
Oh, yeah.
Because the people that came to work for him also got warrants like that.
I have no qualms about these guys making money.
Right.
I have qualms about making money while the company's losing their ass. That's what bothers me.
That's right. Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, these guys that come in, well, like the last president of Boeing, he must have been blind and stupid,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
as long as a bunch of other things too, because he couldn't see what was going on. I mean, how can you screw up a franchise like Boeing?
I don't
He
know.
managed to do it.
Yeah. You only basically got one competitor in the.
Yeah, that's right.
Bureau Airbus.
When the Chinese will not be a competitor for another 10 or 15 years. They're working towards it, but it's not as easy as it looks. Amazing. I just got things here that make no sense.
I got a
So
question
it's almost
for you.
like
I got a question. Did you watch New Year's Eve stuff?
no.
Oh my God, Bill. I never so disappointed in TV in my life.
You didn't watch the Three Stooges Festival?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh,
Part of
okay.
that. That's
Well,
where I'd switch
that's
over,
good.
and then I said, I would hear that stuff's so stupid. I said, "You think that's dumber than the stuff we were just watching?" I don't see something. I'd hear it. We don't see eye to eye on Three Stooges. I think it's funny, and she think one time. Now I got to tell you this, folks. She got caught laughing. I heard a noise over there. It was, I don't know what happened. You know, they give all these little sight gags, and she started laughing. I said, "Are you laughing?" "No." "Yes, you are. Don't tell me this is the stupidest thing you've ever seen." But anyway, I started out. I switch between CNN and Fox.
Yeah.
My TV gets worn out just switching back and forth all the time. I started out on CNN. It was the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen on TV. Anderson Cooper and his boyfriend. I don't remember his name. I don't know these people's name. I mean, he doesn't even touch the floor. He just kind of. The longer it went, the drunker they got.
Oh, really?
The drunker they got, the stupider they got. Especially the boyfriend. And even once in a while, Anderson Cooper would have to say, no, don't say, you can't say that. And he'd stay at, and he'd say, "I want another drink," and he'd pour himself another drink over there. But, so I said, well, I'll switch over to Fox. Guess what? It was the same thing. They're in some bar in Nashville.
Yep.
4 of them on the stage, all lit up. They talked about nothing on New Year's Eve about Biden. I thought, like, Monica, these guys ever change subjects?
The needle is stuck.
Stuck on
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah.
Over for hours on it. And then they would say, "Oh, look at all the people. Do you see any masks?" And the people would go, "No. Do you believe there's a pandemic? No."
Do you know, I know the point you're making, and you're right on. And in years gone by, I have watched the Three Stooges Festival.
You're smart.
Yeah.
Just turn that on and
But
leave it on.
when they had both brothers on, and the other one, not Dave, but the other one, the sat there and got drunk and made stupid remarks all night,
Mhm.
I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, party stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what they were.
Give me a break. That's
It was so
moronic.
bad, Bill. 5. It was so bad. If you owned CNN or Fox, you'd have been embarrassed.
yeah.
I would. I don't know how they can keep these people on tomorrow.
I don't understand. You know what? I'll go you one better. I know it's not better, but I'll go you one. I'll like poker here. I'll make a call, throw some more chips in. Late night TV.
Mhm.
There's what, 3 or 4 different supposed comedy shows on late night TV.
I don't watch those. You watch a rerun of Seinfeld, then it's Big Bang rerun, and then another Seinfeld, and that time it's 12:30 and we go to bed.
Well, I haven't watched a late night show since Johnny Carson. But I will tell you this, that of the snippets that I have picked up on these shows, if that's entertainment,
Yeah.
we ought to blow up entertainment as we know it and start all over again. Morons trying to
Oh.
be funny, and then they bring on
The guest.
the guests.
Oh my God!
And-
And they're always humping a book or some
A show.
upcoming show or a
Yeah.
movie, and they are such dolts, boring people.
Duane, you must have been reading my mind. How people like this make millions of
I
dollars?
don't know. I've often asked
is
myself.
beyond me.
Yep.
I mean, they are. You're right. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that I'm sitting there watching it. So
Yeah, that's right.
right off.
That's right.
You know, another one that drives me completely batty. the police shows.
Oh, they are so phony. It's just overacted, overdramatic.
Is there a police department in the country that is constituted the way the average one is shown on TV?
No.
Well, the sergeant in the detective bureau is a woman.
You know, of course.
The captain
Two.
is a woman.
Yeah.
And when you go to the superintendent, she's a black woman.
It has to be.
Yeah. And then when you go to the detective that screws everything up, he's a drunken Irishman.
Yep.
And now, so all right, so all these women are running the police departments. They're also judges, too, on every single trial that goes. And every one of them is made up like a French tart.
Yeah.
They are beautiful. They're 5'8". They all weigh 126 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
They're built like a brick outhouse. The hair never is out of place, ever.
Mm-mm.
And they look like they just stepped out of a beauty parlor.
Yep.
Well, I've never met any of those cops in my
No.
life.
That's Hollywood. That's just. But it's right. It's so far from realism
Yeah.
that it's ridiculous.
It is another blow right to the chops of men.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's in everything. Look at the commercials. They do
Oh.
too. The white male is just a dumbass.
Yep.
He's always the fall guy. He's
Yeah.
always the stupid one.
Mm-hmm.
He's always the one that doesn't quite get it, but the wife gets it. She just, yeah, okay, honey.
Yeah. By the way, we're running out of time, but if one ad that's currently on TV drives me insane.
One? Okay.
The number one, she's done it, is the blonde in the red high heels
Oh,
that runs
Verizon,
around.
going like this. Oh my
And-
God!
Everyone deserves something better.
Who?
Wait a minute.
You got to wonder who authorizes that stupidity.
How come? Is this socialism run amok? Everyone deserves something better. How about that drunken bum that doesn't do a damn thing?
You just
He deserves the Cadillac to drive around in? I mean, I go insane watching that woman.
there's a couple more. We're going to pick this up on what are the bad ones that really bother you.
All right.
I got some that I automatically hit mute.
All right.
I don't even want to.
Folks, we have run out of time for this segment. We'll be right
Stay
back.
tuned.